Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest fantasy sports game on the market. You can pick players from multiple sports. You can pick a player from tonight's NBA playoff, or even pick a player from the NHL playoffs. Sign up using the code ASU and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Download the app for free at the App Store or Google Play. Well, Terrence, the draft is complete, and most national journalists and even some local journalists think that the Falcons front office did a great job in this year's draft. What did you think about the Atlanta Falcons draft?
I wouldn't say it was a great job. I thought they did a good job. I think they addressed some situations, some holes that they needed to fill. One thing that the only thing that I did not like about this draft is for the Falcons was that we have enough linebackers on this roster, and we signed two more linebackers, one in the second round, the third pick of the draft for the Falcons. And the thing is that I thought that was a reach, with there being offensive linemen sitting out there, some tackles sitting out there that we definitely need for the future, and we let them get by. So that was a head scratcher to me. The first pick in the draft was Drake London. You got the wide receiver. You can some people think that he shouldn't have been that guy we drafted at that position at that position that high. But you got to understand this. He was one of the top 5 wide receivers on the board. So, at the end of the day, they felt that he was the number 1 out of the top 5 on that board. So they got their guy they wanted. And then they went out and got the edge rusher from Penn State, which they needed. I thought the Johnson kid from Florida State was sitting there, and I thought we would get him, and we didn't. But, they did what they did, and they went and got Desmond Ridder. You got your quarterback of the future. I think Desmond Ridder will be a great addition to this team. I think he's the type of quarterback they're looking for. He's the type of quarterback. He's the rookie version of who we have now.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that Tennessee has now in Tannehill. So he's that prototypical Tennessee type offense quarterback that Arthur Smith likes and wants to see.
Yeah. First, I want to rewind just a bit. The guy you were talking about, the linebacker, Troy Anderson, that's who the Falcons drafted. And, Troy Anderson only played linebacker, just of most recently. He also played running back and quarterback. So it was also a head scratcher for me because it's not somebody that's, made their bones, so to speak, playing linebacker their entire time. So I know he's very athletic. I did see some of the tapes. I know people are going to talk about his speed, and I've seen different plays, but I'm not trying to knock on, was it Montana State?
Yeah.
It's just that, you didn't play some of the elite schools with some of the elite talent.
But here's the thing, William. Wasn't Dean sitting there at the same time?
Yeah, Nakobe Dean.
Yes. When he's sitting there?
He was still sitting there.
He was still sitting there, right?
Yeah, okay. I think Nakobe was still sitting there when we drafted Desmond Ridder in the 3rd round.
But William, and I get it. We're trying to justify the draft, and we're trying to make sense of it, especially like you said, Troy Anderson pick from Montana State, the linebacker. I did see the film. Yeah, he was active, made some plays whatsoever. I thought he was a little stiff, but that's my opinion. I thought there was other linebackers out there that moved better and had better years against better competition than he did. But that's my opinion. So my opinion doesn't count when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. But that's where I stood with all of this. And here was something after the draft. I thought I was thinking about what the Falcons did in the draft. And it seemed like to me, the Falcons wanted to say, aha, we didn't pick who you wanted us to pick. It was like they were playing. It's like this was a game to them. Or we're not going to pick the obvious. We're not going to pick the best player at that position. We're not going to pick the best player on the board. We're going to go a different direction. And and sometimes when you do that, there's one or two things can happen. Either you're smarter than everybody else, or you outsmarted yourself.
Yeah.
So but it's yet to be seen. But at the end of the day, William, uh, you know, for the Drake London pick is this. This guy is fulfilling a dream. He is the happiest guy. He's first round draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons. He's getting ready to make a whole lot of money for himself, some generational wealth, and I'm happy for him. And I can't knock that. It's not his fault that the Falcons drafted him there. But it's a blessing to him. It's nothing against you, Drake London, at all. There's nothing against you, but I thought they was going in a different direction. And I hope he turns out to be an all-pro wide receiver for us. I hope he's that next wide receiver that everyone talks about that's in that Atlanta Falcons tree.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. And that's my thing, that the Falcons drafted these guys, so we're going to support these guys.
Right.
That doesn't mean that we can't look back at what we thought could have been done differently.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Both things can be true. We can still look and say, hey, you should have maybe did this, and third. Right. But we also can be happy we got these young men and hope they have a great career. You were right. Nakobe, we picked him after we picked Ritter. So yes, we still had a couple other picks in the second round. We could have got Dean. And people looked at Dean speaking about his injury and size, but I think it would have been worth the risk for Nakobe Dean. Right. That heart and what he proved in college on the collegiate level. And then I'm not, this ain't the Philadelphia Eagles show, but bravo to them to get Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean and to bring that tandem over. When you were talking about the Falcons seem like they're toying with us, I will say that, I don't know how the social media campaigners ran, but when they drafted those SEC players or Georgia players, they were like, see, we were paying attention. We got dogs and got another one. So clearly, like you said, they are aware that the fan base feels a certain way about things, whether it be you don't draft any dog players or you get us a new quarterback, whatever that may be. It does seem like they have some awareness about what's going on.
Well, but if you look at it, all the way up until their last two picks, you can kind of question D'Angelo Malone, the outside linebacker from Western Kentucky. That's Western Kentucky, right?
Yeah, local guy. Yeah, he's a local kid.
So understand this. Before the two Georgia picks at the end, the Falcons didn't draft anybody south of the Mississippi River. And there was a stat showing that the most players drafted in this year's draft was from Texas and Georgia. And I'm going from those. I'm going. Oh, wait a minute. What are we looking at? I mean, where are we trying to find players from? But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, my opinion, what I think they should have done don't matter to the Falcons anyway. This is an organization that's going to do things their way, and sometimes, we want things to happen faster than they want to happen. And the thing is, we want to see things where we want to be excited about and say that, hey, we're there. Does my opinion change of how I feel about this team going into the season after this draft? It's still the same. I just don't know. I don't trust them. I still don't trust it. One of the big news that happened, we released Mike Davis, running back. I seen that coming. We all seen that coming. And then we re-signed Grady Jarrett, which I thought that was a smart thing to do. And as I've been telling you guys for 2 weeks, You keep saying, "Oh, Falcons don't have any money. They can't do this. They can't go out of free agency, and they can't go sign." Okay, they just signed it. If they didn't have money, they wouldn't be able to sign Jared. So come on, guys. When I tell you that this salary cap and when Falcons say they don't have any money, please don't believe them. Don't. Why would you believe them that they? Come on, every NFL team has money. They just got to figure out where they want to spend it. So so you to be quiet, they're gonna say we don't have any money.
Yeah, the pundits or the critics are going to tell you that they restructured it. They gave him bonuses. They gave Grady money up front. Therefore, that freed up money this year, and it won't hurt us in the later years. But we've heard that so many times with the other guys, Matt and Julio, and then years later they'll say, "Well, we gave them that money back then. Right. That's why we're in cap hell, so to speak."
Exactly. So at the end of the day, there are people out there speaking to mislead the public and the fans about this money business. I know. I've known this business for a long time, and I know what they do about money. They know what they're doing. They release guys and they hold guys. They hold money. They have money. They just do what they want to do, and to make excuses for why they can't do things, they say we don't have the money or the cap space.
Yeah, I'll rewind. I was at the draft party that the Falcons had.
Right.
And it was a packed house, good environment. Everybody was happy. And I was just talking to people, asking them. A lot of people were wanting a quarterback or a defensive end or maybe even offensive lineman. Wide receiver was kind of not where people wanted the first pick to go. And after that first pick, droves of people were leaving. I stuck and hung around for later on in the draft, but I can tell you that people were headed out those doors off that first pick, just disappointed. And mainly, I think a lot of it is we as in the Southeastern Conference don't get to see a lot of USC football unless you stay up late.
Exactly.
So all we have to go by is what we hear or highlights or he's slow or this, that, and the third. We haven't really watched day in and day out USC games.
Right. Exactly. You haven't gotten a chance to see. We had the luxury to see guys like Williams from Alabama and Garrett and Olave from Ohio State and the receiver from Arkansas. We've had the luxury to see them every weekend, so we know what they can do, and we don't get to see a USC play because it's late or they're not on national TV as much. And even for me as a guy who loves college football and loves football in general, when the draft came up and the name Drake London came up, I said, who? Yeah. And for me, he came out of nowhere. And I'm not, my wish for Drake is I hope he's healthy. We know he shattered an ankle, came off this ankle injury. He has a hamstring injury that he's overcome whatsoever. I just pray that he's healthy and that he's going to be productive where he could play a long, long, long time for this Atlanta Falcons team.
Yeah, definitely. I hope that for all the guys they got, I hope they can really pan out.
One guy we didn't talk about in this draft, William.
Well, I was going to say, I personally wanted Malik Willis.
No, I'm gonna tell you the sleeper in this draft for the Falcons is the running back from BYU.
Yes, Tyler Allgeier.
If you're not, I played against BYU when I was in college. So whenever BYU is on, I get a chance. I want to turn it on and see what they're doing. This guy right here is that running back that Arthur Smith is looking for. He's not that fast, but he's a downhill bruiser.
Yes, he looks for contact.
Yes, he wants this running game to be physical, and he got that physical back that he's been looking for. And I thought it would be the Robinson kid or the Hassan kid from Michigan, or Robinson from Alabama that he'd get. But I can't be mad at him with this pick right here.
Yeah, those later picks. Like I said, I was kind of thrilled. D'Angelo Malone, he's a local kid, played here in Atlanta. That's the Fayetteville State guy. Tyler, who you just spoke of BYU, I guess is going to battle to be the starter because I think what they're going to do with CP, I think it's going to be more receiver and still doing the plays he
The other
was
stuff.
doing, but he got worn down towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
You know, it took a toll. It was a lot of snaps he was taking. So
Right.
now that we've added Drake London, you know, which is a big body, by the way. So pairing him up with Kyle Pitts, whoever the starting quarterback day one is going to have some targets, because I do feel like they're going to have a competition. I know people say Desmond Ridder is a project and things of that nature, but I feel like they're actually going to compete for that starting job. I don't think it's a said and done thing that Marcus Mariota.
I don't think so. The only thing that Mariota has is that he has the experience of knowing Arthur Smith offense.
Yeah.
And that's it. But as far as talent wise, I think Desmond Ridder is right there with him, or even better. For me, I'm still looking for that receiver that can separate, come in and out of the breaks, separate, catch the ball, and be explosive. You know, I know Drake London is a big body, and all the highlights I've seen is him going 50-50 balls.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you this, 50-50 balls, that ain't gonna win you games in the NFL. You know, that's almost saying if I throw him 10 balls, he's only gonna catch 5. And that's a losing percentage.
Yeah.
So, you know, my thing is the onus right now is on TJ Yates, the receiver coach. Yeah. He has to make him a better route runner, how to separate, to make him a better football player, a better wide receiver in the NFL. Right now the clock is on him. So he has the job and the duty to make this whole room better. And if he doesn't, you know, if Drake London, and I'm gonna say this, if Drake London don't excel, it's because of his room and who's running the room.
And it's funny because when you just said that, TJ Yates again, I'm like, who? And then I have to remind myself he's the wide receiver coach. Again, he's not the QB coach. He is the wide receiver coach, people. So that's going to be a testament to how well he can coach them receivers.
Exactly.
And speaking of coaching and mentorship, up in Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill was asked if he could be a mentor to Malik Willis, and he just said basically he doesn't feel like that's his job to be a mentor to Malik Willis. What's your perspective? Because you've had receivers get drafted in Atlanta while you were a receiver.
Well, here's the thing. I can understand how he feels. You know, he's hurt because he said they didn't tell him they were going to draft a quarterback. So he's hurt by that. So here's his chance to take a shot back at the organization and say, I'm not helping this kid take my job. And I get it. And I understand it. You know, Tannehill's still a young guy. Yeah. And it's not like he's mature beyond his years where he can say, I'm going to help him, but I'm still the better quarterback. So that's some kind of insecurity by his part, thinking, you know, he's not sure of himself and his abilities. So he's going to say that because he knows he's fighting for his job. Now, at the end of the day, when everyone in the room is getting better because the number one guy is helping everybody get better, the team wins. Now, if there's any separation or any animosity in that locker room or in that meeting room, it's hard to win football games, because here it is where now the Malik Willis fans, when he walked in that locker room, the players who embraced him whatsoever, blah, 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 then your starting quarterback comes out and says something like that. They're looking at him like, wait a minute, he's one of our teammates. You mean you're not going to help him get acclimated into this NFL life? You know, now it's a kind of looking sideways at, do I really want him to be our leader? And that's what Tannehill is going to have to be careful of. I probably can bet that in the next couple of days, he's going to come out and say, that's not what I meant.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to definitely help the kid. I just don't want him taking my job.
Exactly. Yeah, because that was not a good look. That was not a good look. Because now what it does, it puts more pressure on you, because now all eyes are going to be on you. And every little thing, every little mistake, every little thing that you do, OTAs, mini camp, preseason, is going to be blown out of proportion 100-fold. Yes. So now you didn't put a bullseye and a spotlight on you and your performance, which you shouldn't have done. You know, you should have reflected it all to Malik and let everybody watch him while you steady getting better and keeping your job.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Because now those questions are going to be asked after practice, training camp, all that. So I know sometimes you're not big on grades, but I got to ask, what's the draft grade you're going to give the Falcons?
You know what? I'm gonna give them a C. I give them a solid C. I thought that we had a chance to go get some dudes, and we went to get some players.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Does that make sense? The mentality from Arthur Blank to Rich McKay on down is let's not draft anybody that's too rah-rah, too rambunctious, too feisty, too much of a dog. And we want this, button up clean look for our organization. But that button up clean look doesn't win football games all the time. So sometimes you need a dude that's gonna rock that boat to wake everybody up and to start rowing a little bit harder to the finish line.
Yeah, I would say that I don't, if it comes down to marketing or anything like that, they clearly don't have a clue on what the pulse is, because they miss it time and time again.
Right.
But they could so easily, they had an opportunity. Okay, you took Drake London. And again, I'm not knocking Desmond Ritter. I'm happy that we got the kid as well.
Right.
But I just know a lot of eyes were set on Malik Willis.
Right.
So if they could have still pulled that out, and maybe even if not him, pull in, like I said, Nakobe Dean. This is another Georgia. Things like that will put butts in the seat.
Right.
I know winning will put it in there, but before they even got a product to prove themselves, them names alone would help get the fans in there.
Well, and William, remember after the Super Bowl, we talked and I got so upset because I said, if you're not trying to win football games now, where are you in the business? No such thing as 2-3 year rebuild. No, you as a coach or GM don't have 2 or 3 years to rebuild. In today's climate, it's win-win now. Because if your neighbor is winning or your rival is winning, you're trying to catch up to them. So you're trying to do everything necessary to win now. The LA Rams probably in last 2-3 years haven't had a first round pick, and they're winning football games. And what other teams are doing in free agency to try to win now? Okay, you can say, well, that's a failure approach. That's something that just grasping for straws. No, look, if you're not trying, you're not gonna win. If you're not gonna leap, what are you doing? You can just stand on the edge and say, I'm just gonna play safe and just hopefully some other mountains grow where I can step down. You got to jump off the cliff and spread your wings and fly. And this organization for some reason won't do that. And I don't know why. I can't question it, because they know they have a plan, obviously, and they feel that their system and their plan works. But at the end of the day, what I see and what they're doing right now is too many question marks, way too many question marks. And the thing is, people look, you Falcons organization, you could be mad at me, you can stop inviting me to things, you can stop doing all those things. I don't care. I really don't care, because look, I'm a grown man and I'm gonna speak my mind. And because if I don't speak my mind, I'm less of a man. Because at the end of the day, when someone asks you about Terrence Mathis, you're gonna speak your mind, good or bad, and everybody gonna believe whatever you say, because you're supposed to be the higher power in all this. So I'm gonna speak my mind whenever I get a chance. Whatever you're doing right now, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And if you're trying to build for the next 2 or 3 years, you're not guaranteed to be here in the next 2 or 3 years.
Terrence, you hit the nail on the head. That's my thing. When you were talking about Desmond Ritter earlier and then saying he fits the mold of a Tennessee quarterback like Tannehill and Mariota, it's almost like He's like, well, I've got time. I'll be here for some years to develop this guy, get these guys in my game plan, get these guys for Dan Pease. We got a whole nother year. We're going to have $100 and something million. Like you're already looking in 2023.
Right.
Like how much rope can they have without producing something? Well, 7-10. I don't care if it's 2 more wins more than Dan Quinn. It's still not a winning record. You're still not in the playoffs.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna live for now, and I'm gonna enjoy now. I'm not gonna live. I'm gonna wait 2-3 years to start living my life. Oh, I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. I'm talking about on this earth.
Yep.
So if you're not striving to be the best and be great right now, you're not guaranteed that tomorrow, next week, next year, 2-3 years from now, you're not guaranteed that. You need to become the best that you can be right now. You can't say, well, I'm gonna build myself where I'm gonna be the best that I can be in the future. No, you work on yourself today. Every day you work on yourself to be the best. You don't wake up in the morning and say, well, I'm just gonna lay in the bed today and not do anything because tomorrow's gonna be a better day for me. So I'm gonna get up tomorrow, the second day, and then start working on a better me. No, that's not how you become great. So this Falcon organization to be great, they better get on the horse and get to going.
Yeah. I also give a shout out to Terrence Moore, who honestly, hit the nail on the head that the Falcons continue to pass on offensive linemen year after year. It doesn't matter if it's who's in that front office, but that one particular man, everything continues to, go away from offensive linemen. And they just renewed Lindstrom, but not McGrary. So that kind of lets you know what they felt about him, who was a first-round pick.
Right. You had a chance in your first, pretty much in your first 5 picks to pick one of a really, really good offensive tackle, and we didn't do that. So but we picked 2 linebackers. When in free agency, we signed 10 of them. We got like 20 linebackers on the roster, 20 linebackers and 10 tight ends on the roster. Come on, man.
Yes, the Falcons did draft tight end John Fitzpatrick from Georgia.
Yeah, so come on, man. So what are we doing? What are we doing? We don't know because we haven't seen we haven't seen the identity of this football team. And people say, well, after 1 year you can't see that. Yes, you can. After 1 year, you should understand. You should understand what direction that they're going in. We don't. It seemed like, to me, it seemed like it's the first year again. We didn't build or gain any ground on anybody in free agency or in this draft.
It's like the preseason. They didn't play the preseason. We didn't play for real last year. We just taking it serious now.
Right. Now understand this. Look, I could be absolutely wrong. And they could end up winning 11 games this year. And I'm going to be the first one to congratulate them and say, job well done. But where we sit right now, which is early and on paper, which paper doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Right now, I don't see it.
No.
It may matriculate as the offseason goes and then the preseason starts, and my whole thinking going into the preseason and after that first preseason game going, okay, they got something brewing here. But right now, I'm still left as lost as I was after the last game of the 2021 season.
And like you said, though, they got to play the preseason for us to see them.
Right. Exactly.
What you got for us to end today?
William, I don't have much today. It's been, since we talked, it's been a long week. My son is out of school, picked him up whatsoever. And, right now, I'm just, as I've said before, enjoy your days, enjoy the moment. Don't get too uptight about things that don't go your way whatsoever. You know, if it here's something, and it just came to me, and I heard something. Uh, if when we get something, when something good happens to us, we always say God is good. You know, oh, God was for us. But if God was for us in the good times, isn't he for us in the bad times too?
Right.
That's the same God. So when we're going through bad times, it must be God also, right?
Right.
To taking us through a test to test our faith, to test our prayer life, to get us back to that good place, right? So whether good or bad, God is the same. He was the same before, today, and he'll be the same tomorrow. So understand this: God is in everything. So don't give too much credit to the enemy, which is the devil, and say, "Oh, the devil must be lurking. The devil, the devil is busy." No, 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 no. You give him way too much power. Rebuke him and move on, and move on, and watch God turn it all around for you.
All right. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. As always, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Hope everyone has a blessed day. Stay safe.
Peace.